Good morrow and welcome to what it can only be described as my weekly ramble. To be honest, I'm Anna Martin and I am going to be chatting away about how your body is basically a bank account and every workout is a deposit, which future you will thank you for every single one. Or rather, that was the title of my email that I sent out today. But really, the main thing sort of stem for, since I became a grown-up and turned 40, or I call myself a grown-up, probably not really. I don't know why, but every single thing I see is about compound interest, which is ridiculous also because, you know, probably a good hint for me to get my finances in order, but still, it's probably not like top of my priority list in terms of things that I think about on a daily basis. But it did get me thinking that it is really similar to the way that fitness works in our body. And I know that we've all done it. You know, when I do it myself, when I do a glute workout and then I look at my ass in the mirror like it's suddenly going to have grown whilst I've been training. And this, we all do it, right? Like we don't eat as much food for a day and then we're checking to see if we've got abs already. Like we all do it. But it does all kind of feed in to thinking about it in terms of this money thing. Like it's like sticking a tenner into your ISA and then logging back in 5 minutes later to see if it's made tons of interest. Like we already know it's not gonna have happened that quickly. It's just something that, you know, with our workouts we keep checking. So most of our rewards from our fitness happen over time. And lots of things in fitness do take a long time, especially things like muscle gain and strength. At the beginning, you'll see faster results in terms of like your strength gain, for example, because you won't have reached like your strength potential because you're just starting and you're probably stronger than you think you are. But the longer that you've been doing it for and the more you've been pushing yourself, obviously that rate of return slows down because you don't just keep getting stronger at the same pace over your life. There's like a kind of shelf to it, which you obviously see when you're looking at people who are doing things like world records for powerlifting. It doesn't just keep jumping up 10 kilos every 3 months. Once you get to that top bit, you know, it's really hard to keep the needle moving forward in terms of constantly achieving. So we do have to have like that bit of brain in us that says, you know what, this is going to go on forever. I need to train forever or for as long as I'm physically capable of doing it. And we have to be able to maintain what we've got. So we're not going to get really cardiovascularly fit and then just keep it. If you stop working out, stop doing cardio, your fitness level decreases. Just what happens. It's the same with strength, same with muscle mass. So we are going to have to get used to constantly maintaining everything we've grown, even when we have got to a point where we think, oh, do you know what, this is where I wanted to get to. And it's true that one workout might not make you rich, but 100, 200 of the things are going to make a massive difference on that bank account of body. It helps to improve your cardiovascular health, your fitness level, your strength, your body's mobility, your flexibility in terms of strength training and stuff as well, your body composition, your blood sugar regulation, your bone density. It helps the way that you feel in terms of your stress management, and for some people really helps with their mental health. So cumulatively, those 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 workouts we did make huge adaptations in your body. The results are the sum of each workout added up. It's like each pound or tenner that you put into your ISA. It's the accumulation of all that money, all those quids that make the big difference. And it's the interest that you're getting on those when they're joining together as a whole. And it is the same with workouts. One workout on its own, same as £1 on its own, probably doesn't make that much difference. But if you're constantly paying it into that bank account of body, that's what's going to make the most difference over time. So you'll have these days where you're like, do you know what? I feel like the sexiest fitness ninja that's ever lived. And you'll go in and you'll have these fantastic workouts and they will be the best thing you've ever done. You're going to PB and all this stuff. That is not going to be the vast majority of your workouts. Most of them feel absolutely fine. and you might get one or two things that go really well, like you get a smidgen on, like an extra kilo on this or an extra couple of kilos on that, an extra rep in. Obviously, we're trying to get progressive overload like we talked about on the last sequence of stuff. We want to make sure that we're constantly trying to move forward, but we should know that most of our workouts feel somewhere in the middle. Some of them are going to feel absolute dog shit. And sometimes you shouldn't train. Like if you're so run down, you're so exhausted, you feel like you're going to pass out, you're so tired, you're poorly. Like stop, don't train, stay at home, relax, get some sleep. But for every other case, you know, there's just those things where you feel, I'm not going to be very good today, I can't be bothered. Just go anyway. Because quite often you think you're going to be shit, but then when you get going, you are average. And average is fine. And this is the thing that I want everyone to understand. You're not just paying into your bank account when you have great workouts. It's the shit ones and the absolutely fine ones that are also paying in as well. One, in terms of your consistency, but two, it's the stimulus to your body. Your body wants to be stimulated all the time, as it were. So we need to constantly be thinking, do you know what, I can do this. I might feel not great today. I might feel a bit tired or can't be bothered, or I'd rather go home and watch reruns of Love Island. Never watch a rerun of Love Island. Once is enough for anyone. And I watch it, believe me, but don't re-watch it, whatever you do. No offence, Love Island, but it's not that kind of show, let's be honest. So we need to think about all of that in general to keep us motivated. When people who are like stronger, I'm going to include myself in it. I don't think I'm particularly strong compared to a lot of my colleagues, but I can imagine that for someone who's a beginner, like I'm talking about hip thrusting 108 kilos or whatever, we talk about our PBs and the gains and that stuff because we're excited about them, because we've had to do 795 workouts to make that happen. So we're as excited about it as you're going to be about when you do it. It doesn't stop just because you've been doing it a long time. And in fact, PBs, like really good ones, happen so rarely when you've been training for a long time. Like I might be able to creep it up by a kilo, but you know, just suddenly being able to really like max out on a machine. You know, it feels really good. I do want to talk about it, and I am proud of myself when that happens. So we're going to talk about those, but that isn't that's not making up the vast majority of our session. We're in rehab, prehab. We're trying to work out like imbalances in muscle groups. We are trying to do everything that we can to prepare for the fact that sometime in the next 6 or 7 days, we might get a PB if our body is in the mood and we've had the perfect amount of sleep and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes not even. Sometimes you've had no fucking sleep and then you wake up and you go in and you smash your workout and then you're brilliant. And then other times you've had all this great sleep and you've eaten really well and you're going in your shit. So this is the roller coaster that we live in. But my point being, don't be put off by the fact that most of the time when you train or you go to class or whatever, you feel average. So does everyone else doing it. It is more the fact that we are constantly using these average workouts to pay into our bank account. We don't sit in the averageness. We're not going and thinking, oh, well, I'm average today, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to be average. I'm still trying at everything, but I don't walk out thinking, oh my goodness, you were fucking incredible today. I walk out thinking, I'm proud of you. Like you did that workout. It was good. I ticked off this and that. This is a positive. Hopefully my next session on this, I'm going to be feeling really great. It's just for normal people who aren't athletes. I'm sure it's the same for athletes as well. We've got like fluctuations and stuff in terms of our energy levels, performance, that kind of thing. So we've got other stuff going on. We're all working a full-time job, you know. It's like a constant balance. But this is why the key is that everyone who trains or exercises regularly in any format is falling in love with it, or they are already in love with the process. And you'll hear that a lot with fitness, and that is purely because we have to do all of these average to averagely good workouts over time, and we have to love the thing we're doing because it isn't always great. It's a lot of okay stuff, like, oh yeah, I was all right today. Yeah, my session was all right, you know. And that doesn't mean my session was fantastic and I think I'm the sexiest thing in some lycra. But we have to learn to love the thing that we're doing, because we are going to have to do it forever. It isn't just that you get fit and you get strong and then you stop having to do it. That's not how it works. Being fit and healthy isn't an 8, 12 or 16 week fitness transformation. They're things that are going to get you started. Like, we might do an 8-week transformation with someone. It's going to help give you the basics and that kind of stuff. It might give you some accountability or a kick up the arse, whatever. But these things, you have to be able to do this yourself over and over and over again for the rest of your life. If you're a millionaire and you're willing to pay a personal trainer to see you 4 times a week or whatever it is and program it all, and you'll pay them over the odds because you're expecting them to message you and get you out of bed and all this stuff, like, great, you do that. But most of us are not going to waste our money on getting someone to tell us what to do when we already know what to do it. PTs are there to help give you a lot of accountability. That's what I do with my guys, to help them work around injuries. Maybe because they're working with me, we're able to work towards a goal faster because I can help them tweak it very quickly to get them moving towards it. But the fact is, they are still having to get themselves up. They still have to get themselves to the gym, even though they've paid for it. That's not the only motivation people need. They are still going to have to go and train on their own around it. Like, I can't do it all for them. And I don't think any of my clients could afford to train with me 4 times a week or something. So they are going to have to do the other workouts on their own. They are going to have to motivate themselves to make the food that we've talked about and that they've decided that they're going to do. They have to make themselves do their prehab or rehab and all that kind of stuff. They have to make themselves get a good night's sleep. They have to make themselves do all this stuff. They are still going to need all of this motivation, even if they're training with me one-on-one twice a week. And whilst it can really help with motivation, I absolutely admit that, there isn't any reason why a lot of us can't get the vast majority of those benefits from training on our own. And yes, do the transformations, do all this kind of stuff, but you have just got to rinse and repeat. And, you know, we add variables like we've talked about on the strength equation stuff in that series. So if you haven't listened to that, go and listen to it. But there are things that we alter and things we adapt, and obviously make them new programs and blah, blah, blah. But you can still do that yourself. Might take a bit slower than having someone making it all for you, but you can still do it. Because you can get your workouts programmed, you can motivate yourself to go to a class, go to a gym, go and do this. It is still possible for you to do that, because you are still going to have to motivate yourself, even if you're paying for a PT every single day of the week. You still got to motivate yourself. Paying for it doesn't just make it magically happen. You could go into your session and then whinge about it the whole time and not do anything, or you can go into your session and crack on even though you feel like a bag of shit. We're constantly making choices, and yes, sometimes that is easier if someone else is there. But the fact of the matter is, you're still going to have to do that, whether I'm there, your mate's there, or you're on your own. You've still got to change your own mindset and be like, come on then, let's go. We have to do this forever. And we can't get around this. There's no cheat sheet. All of the things you'll be like, oh yeah, put this magic suit on and it will get you as much muscle as you did in a workout. I'm telling you now, no bodybuilders were made in the use of one of those suits. It's not a thing. It might be slightly better than doing nothing or doing it just body weight, but you're going to have to lift some weights of some kind, do some really good body weight training. And I don't just mean like the occasional sit up, like a proper program. We are going to have to move the needle and move things forward forever. That is not a lie, no shortcuts. That is literally it, because we don't do enough stuff anymore. Most of us sit at a desk. 400 years ago, you would have been dragging around bags of flour, human beings, animal carcasses, whatever. Now we do basically fuck all compared to our ancestors. Even the washing was like manual, right? Everything was manual. And now we just press a button on a machine and then sigh when we've got to hang it up, like we can't cope. So we have to make fake versions of that stuff. And so unfortunately, unless you're going to go and work on a farm or something similar, you are going to have to train. And that's it. End of that, basically. But I just wanted to give you an example of someone who I talked about in my email out this week. And it's a bloke at my gym, one of my gym buddies, who I'm going to call Jim. He's 90, turned 90 this year. He was a sportsman in his younger days, and he only stopped running a couple of years ago. But he still trains 3 times a week in the gym. He can do hanging leg raises better than nearly anyone I know. He's like pull-ups, rows, deadlifts, everything. Still doing everything. And I am sure, having had conversations with him, that it is frustrating because he can't lift as much as he used to. You know, age happens to all of us if we are lucky. So there are obviously some things that still change even though you're trying to use them. But the thing is, he's 90 years old. He walks to the gym. He goes out for long walks. He does all his like fixing up stuff around the house. Be like, oh yeah, I need to do this, or I need to like jet wash the patio or whatever. He does a garden. He's going out for coffee, for lunch, for dinner every time I speak to him. They're having like massive barbecues. He's travelling around the UK to go and see people and check up on his mates and all this stuff. He has a really full life. And you have to think, if you can't, I can't guarantee you that's down to the training, right? But I'm pretty sure that's got quite a lot to do with it in terms of, I mean, I don't know many other 90-year-olds that are cracking on doing all this cool stuff. And it might be frustrating that he's slightly less strong than he used to be. But if he stopped training because of that, how long would what he has last for? Like, would it last? Would you bet on that? If you were that age and you had this really like great life when you could do all this stuff and you were, you know, pretty bloody fit and healthy and strong, would you gamble that, oh, it's all right, I can't do it as well as I want to be able to do it, so I'm not going to do it? Is that a gamble that you take, that you're just going to keep that strength going? Like, I don't think I would be like, I know I won't be. I'm going to be clawing on for dear life for as long as I possibly can with doing this. And this is the thing, like, this particular chap's paid a lot of money into his body's bank account, right? He's been done sport and trained forever. He's reaping the benefits because he's basically a ninja. He's 90, does all this cool stuff. And I know that some of us are dealt a slightly different hand in terms of genetics and how our body works and stuff. But if we can maximise our return on investment, because we're constantly training, constantly making these regular, consistent deposits during our life, and by constantly, I don't mean every day, by the way, I just mean regularly across our life, but we're paying it into this like bank of body, and we've got this consistent mindset so that we are looking after the only body that we've got, essentially. You've only got one body. Once yours is up, it's up. So we may as well like make the most of looking after that body and trying to do what we can to look after it long term. So I know that it can get a bit frustrating, especially this time of year. You've got holidays, you might have to miss stuff because you have been, you know, going to all these end of term shows. Maybe it's really busy at work, whatever. It's annoying because, you know, you get out the loop and then you've got to like not start again, but it's like that bit of effort. But the alternative is not restarting, and then basically then when you do restart, it's going to be even worse. So when you have had like a gap, even if it's a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, just pull your finger out your ass and get stuck in. Yes, the first time it's going to feel like shit, but after that, it's going to feel better and better and better. It's better than spending months not doing anything and then having to really feel like extra crap when you come to put it in. So, yeah, even when you've had a break, let's just go, get back in, carry on making the deposits into your long-term ISA, whatever that you are doing for that maximum amount of dollar bills in your body. So, yeah, I'll also write an email on this out this week. So if you're not on the mailing list, get on it. But I did write at the end, your old lady body is calling you and she wants to be doing cool shit for as long as humanly possible. And when you're 70, 80, 90, 95, whatever will be the life expectancy when we get there, you're going to be really freaking glad that you bothered right now, because we can start doing this at any age, but it is easier the younger that we are when we start it, probably because then we get into the habit of doing it and it doesn't feel like such an ag. But if you're retired, you've got time, so don't be giving me all that shit. Just get going. You can start at any age. And when you're retired, you've got time to fit in your 3 to 4 times a week workouts and have a wonderful time. So let's get that in our schedules. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, but I am endeavoured to doing one of these every single week. Yeah, I'm pulling my finger at my arse and getting back on this because I miss talking to you all. So come and join me on Facebook or Instagram. It's Anna Martin Fitness. Join the Flex community. You don't even have to be signed up to my website to be in the gang. I just want to hear from you. Come and chat on my posts, whatever. And join in our Flex This Week weekly challenge, which is kicking off from Monday on my Facebook and Instagram as per usual. So let's go. Have a fabulous week, and I will speak to you soon.